Good morning, everybody. Here we are back at our downtown studios, which somebody told me, goes, what do you mean downtown studios? I'm like, well, first of all, back in the day, Johnny Carson used to say downtown Burbank. So I kind of stole that from him, and we're in our downtown studios on Russell Road at our business, Hide and Seek. Let me get that plug in real quick. Please come see us at Hide and Seek, where you too could have your own storage unit with the nicest people available with lots of light. Write it in your book. Come on down. Okay, we've done business. Now, the last one was about blessings, and I want to talk to you about how blessed I have been even when I was a itty bitty baby. Okay, I was blessed to be adopted. Now everybody goes, well, that because if you're adopted, what happened? I said, well, I was blessed because I had the most wonderful parents. They wanted me. If you weren't adopted, you could have been a mistake, but they wanted me. They paid big bucks for me. My mom used to say that, she didn't get what she paid for. And I said, well, you should have paid more. The more you paid, the better you are. So, but I'm not going to talk about my mom today. I'm going to talk about daddy. Now, a lot of you could have daddy issues. There's a lot of people that don't talk to their fathers and they don't like their fathers, and their fathers are overbearing and their fathers are this and that. I had the best daddy of all. Okay. When they did adopt me, I was a baby, 3 days old. I was born in San Antonio. And my dad was 65 when they adopted me as a baby. I'm 68. If I had to adopt a baby now, I would slip my wrist here. I'd go here, because I'd have to bleed out, because I wouldn't want a baby at 65 or 66. But, he told my mom that, oh, she'll never have a dad. But when I got there, I was just so cute. He couldn't help it. So he stole me away. And I was truly a daddy's girl. He took me everywhere with him. He took me and he would hold me in his hand, and I would stand up and he would walk around, where I'm just proud to be my daddy's girl. Well, my dad was a developer here in the Rio Grande Valley. For you people that don't know the Rio Grande Valley, that's very, very, very far south, down by the border, by the Rio Grande River, close to SpaceX and South Padre Island. Well, my dad developed property, and he would take people to Mexico and show them all kinds of things. There used to be this place called Joe's Place, which was kind of like a Vegas style show. Okay. And they had people come in from Mexico City. They had women with, showgirls with feathers and skimpy tops, and they had magicians and jugglers. And so it was just this whole thing. And they took me with them everywhere they went. I never had a babysitter. Can you imagine that? I can't even imagine. Now I have dogs and I need a babysitter, but they took me with them everywhere. So there was a place called Trevino's in Reynosa, which was across the border. And you remember that, Frank? You remember Trevino's? It was wonderful. They used to have this drink, a hurricane. That's the first time I ever heard about hurricanes. It was this lovely glass, and they would put fake flowers in it, roses. So you would look around and see, and everybody would take their fake flowers out, and they would bounce and talk people while they were walking to the club, the Alaskan, where everybody would dance until 5 o'clock in the morning and watch the sun come up. And we're so close to the border. Age, you have a drinking age? Well, it didn't matter in Mexico. I never drank, so that didn't matter because I drove everybody home. However, when I was a baby, my dad would take me and we would go into this place, Trevino's, and in front there was a curio store, and they would have these giant flowers. But in this curio store, they would have all these rings. And as you can see, I love rings. I love rings. I've always loved rings. And my dad would give me $1 and I would go buy a ring. And they were always shaped long. I have something about long rings. I don't know what the deal is with that. So anyway, I go in and I would buy these rings, and I never lost a ring. I never lost a ring. They would break or something would happen. And so when I'd wear that one out, he'd get me a new one. And so I remember when I was little, I said, Daddy, when I get older, will you buy me a real ring? A real ring. That means at a real jewelry store, not the dollar one when you go in to go see the monkey at the other one. There was, yeah, the Imperial had the monkey hanging out. And so it was just, I wanted a real ring. Well, that was, 6, 7, 8 years old. Fast forward to I'm 25 or 24. My dad has since gone into a rest home, and he had good days and bad days. And so I went to visit him at the rest home one day. And he says, so we're driving, I'll never forget, we're downtown Edinburgh, the real downtown, not downtown across from the Grove. And I'm driving, and he had his health provider with him, and he's sitting in the front seat, and he looks at me and he said, Janie, do you still want that ring? I went, I said, yes, I still want that ring. And so we went to Porter's Jewelry in Edinburgh, and they pulled out these rings, and he picked this ring for me. He picked this ring. Go up a little bit, right there. I couldn't believe it. After 20 years, my dad, after even having slight dementia and good days and bad days, wanted to know if I wanted that ring still. So this is my daddy, and he was in the sheriff's posse, and I absolutely adored my dad. My mom used to say, that is a case of true love. And what would happen, I would tell him, because he was so much older, people would go, your dad's going to pass away soon. He lived to be 90, which was fabulous. But I used to tell him, he goes, Janie, someday I'm going to die. And I said, I'm just going to jump in the casket after you. And he goes, yeah, you probably won't, but thank you. Anyway, but my dad broke one promise to me in my entire life. Now, that's saying something for somebody. And if I had any advice to give to anybody, if you tell somebody you're going to do something, please do it. It means so much. The only thing he broke a promise was, as he said, he wanted to go to the pyramids in Mexico City at Teotihuacan and climb the pyramids with me. Okay, now you have to remember, when I was a baby, he was 65. That means when I was 10, he was 75. And when I was 20, he was 85. Okay, so, you're not quite as agile. And I had the pleasure of going to climb the pyramids. I climbed the pyramids with my Girl Scout troop. And let me tell you, they have since put in rails to climb up, but when I climbed them, there was nothing. You had to crawl up. And you know what? If you were going to break a promise to somebody, that's the one to break, because it was killer. And I know that if my dad had taken me, he would have tried to go up there with me. So I just want to tell you, that's just the beginning of how wonderful my dad is. He never broke a promise to me. So please, guys, if you say something to somebody, remember it, because it does matter. And if you're a father, love your kids. And, he loved me. He thought I was crazy, but he did love me. And anytime I would do something, he'd go, Janie, 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 what am I going to do with you? And I would tell him, it's too late. You should have thought about that a long time ago. And he would just roll his eyes and go, okay. And when he was in the rest home, I can see him going, I can't even have a stroke in peace around you. But it was okay. And so I'm going to sign off from here. And my next one's going to be about my dad, but it's going to be some really funny stories that he's done. But I just wanted to tell you what kind of man he was, that he didn't break promises. And he did think I was a little warped. And he goes, Janie, Janie, Janie. He would go, what are you doing now? And I'd be going, I'm doing a YouTube. And he'd be going, what the hell is that? And I wouldn't be able to explain it to him. And it doesn't matter, because he would have loved me anyway. So I just want to tell you, thank you for watching this. And if you haven't signed up or subscribed, please, instead of watching it on Facebook, please go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. I am pleased to say that I have 201 subscribers. And I've been told for 5 weeks, that's pretty good. I have over 1,300 views, which I'm assuming is good. But then again, I pimp myself out everywhere I go. So please, if you like this, if you like the stories, if you like the sentiment, it's coming from my heart. So please, I'll talk to you later. Don't forget to subscribe. Jane, remember the name. I want to dedicate this episode to my dad. His name was John Thomas Crofts, and he was my daddy. And you guys, remember, if you promise your kids something, you better make it happen. Be a real man like my daddy was. Keep your promises. See you in the next episode.